presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. It is a hot one at Kauffman Stadium today, and the Royals will try and cool down the White Sox in the final game of a 3-game series. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. The White Sox were one of the worst teams in the major leagues offensively when they arrived, and now they've outscored the Royals 18-2 in the first 2 games of the series. There are many names for the guy at the top of the rotation, your number 1 guy, your ace. Maybe a throwback term would be the stopper, the guy that comes in and stops a losing streak.
That's exactly the definition of Johnny Cueto and what they want from him today. Make the adjustments, get back to being the Cueto that you can be, and go ahead and help them stop the streak. Aces are extremely important in the game, and the Royals got one, and they want to see it today.
Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard shows that Cueto has been at his best when he is pitching at home.
That's exactly right. Now, the ballpark he came from, that was a launching pad. Heck, this is Yellowstone National Park here at the Cave for him. He wants to keep the ball down still, though. That's been his issue as they've been able to hit him. But, man, we hope we see that today.
So we know he needs to slow down these hot White Sox bats, but what does he need to do mechanically to get the Sox out? Joel and Monty will discuss right after this.
This date, 1995. Hard to believe 20 years have passed since Cal Ripken became the new Iron Man in front of friends, family, and the whole baseball world. What a ceremony that was afterwards as he went around the stadium in Baltimore. Guy that Monty faced many times in his career. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. And the Royals, we heard about it from Ryan and Hud, they're looking for that stopper, looking for that ace, getting Johnny Cueto back to what he was. What adjustments maybe will he be making?
Well, I think you're going to see Johnny go out and try to establish the fact that he can be Johnny Cueto. He can have some fun out there. He doesn't have to overthrow the ball. You come to a new team, there's a lot of expectations. Johnny Cueto is expected to do a lot of big things for this club, and I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself. Dave Allen referred to it as exactly what Yordano Ventura went through. Wasn't having fun out there. I hope to see Johnny Cueto go out and do exactly what he's doing here. Maybe not catch a pop-up, but a lot of smiles on his face.
And that moment, you feel like, might have been the one to loosen him up a little.
And he looked a lot better the last 3 innings of the last start. Hopefully he carries that same momentum into today's start.
So Johnny Cueto looking to end that 3-game losing streak. He's never lost 4 in a row. Looking good in those Royals powder blues. First pitch coming up next.
Back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers. Visit your local Chevy dealers today for great prices on all the new 2015 vehicles. And it is a hot one. September 6th feels a lot more like August the 6th today. Full sunshine and temperatures expected to get into the mid-90s. Royals and White Sox wrapping up a 3-game series with Chicago winning the first 2. Robin Ventura's team has won 3 straight going back to their previous series when they won at Minnesota. They have not won 4 in a row since late July. And here's his batting order today. Getting set to face Johnny Cueto, who's trying to end a 3-game losing streak. Cueto has had 4 good starts, and then he's lost his last 3.
Yep, and he never has lost 4 in a row, and we don't expect to see that today if he's the real Johnny Cueto that he has been in the previous 4. He's got excellent stuff. 4 and 2 seam fastball. He'll reach 95. He averages around 92 miles an hour. Curveball, slider, cutter, change, all different pitches to both sides of the plate at any count. Different looks. He's got a quick pitch that we didn't see last time out. Hopefully we'll see more of that and him enjoying himself and being creative that he can be. And get rid of the past, because the past does no good. Go ahead and look forward and keep his pitches down. That's the whole key.
And the Royals defensively today, presented by Ford.
Yeah, great to see Moose Stockis back in there, because Moose, had been nursing that sore hamstring, but he's had plenty of time to get it going. They wouldn't let him out there and let the Moose loose if he wasn't ready. So look for him to drive that bus, hopefully today in that 3rd hole.
So he's back in. Lorenzo Cain and Eric Hosmer get the day off. And our umpiring crew for today, Ron Kolpa is behind the plate. That's our crew chief. Larry Vanover, he'll be at first base. Brian Knight is at second. Vic Carapazza will be at third. Danny Duffy was very complimentary of the strike zone of Vic Carapazza after the game last night. We'll see how Johnny Cueto and Salvador Perez do with Ron Kolpa today. So Cueto going with the long sleeves on a hot day. Adam Eaton is in the box, and the first pitch of the game. Changeup is high, ball 1.
Now the whole key for Johnny Cueto, like most pitchers, is going to be to line himself up straight with Salvi and use that front shoulder, keep it closed, and work down in the zone.
And Adam Eaton has had a very good second half. He is on. Second time in 3 games he has opened the game with a base hit.
Okay, Johnny Cueto, if he stays up in that zone right in those spots there, he's going to continue to get hit. So this is what Dave Island was hoping that he could adjust to, and that is get a little bit more downward angle. Work those balls. When they do hit him out over the plate, at least they're down enough to where he hits them at somebody.
And now the white hot Alexei Ramirez. In his last 7 games, he is hitting .536. And in this series, 6 for 9. He had the biggest hit last night, a 3-run home run against Danny Duffy, and he made the defensive play of the game. And that ball is blasted to left field, and on a day like today, that ball lucky to stay in the ballpark. Man, with the hot day, the humidity, and the wind blowing out toward left, Royals are fortunate that hit the top of the padding and stayed in. And that makes Alexei Ramirez 7 out of 10 in this series, and the White Sox have runners at second and third and nobody out.
How did that ball stay in the park? I thought for sure that would have been out, but man, there's a break right there. But Salvador Perez going out to the mound now, talking to Johnny, saying, come on now, Johnny, let's not get off to the start that we've been getting ourselves into in the last few games. But that pitch is way in off the plate, and you got to credit the hot hitter Alexei for pulling his hands in and being able to hit this. Now look where this landed. I mean, just an inch from going out of the yard.
Jose Abreu with 2 runners in scoring position. He's the DH today, and that pitch is up and in. Nobody is using this as an excuse, and yet it's still an interesting number with Ramirez hitting that ball that was inside and out of the strike zone. In his 3-game losing streak, Johnny Cueto has really been hurt by pitches out of the strike zone. So yes, he's made his share of mistakes in the strike zone and not gotten the ball down like he normally would. And yet the numbers are staggering for pitches that aren't even strikes.
He's just going through a spell right now, and he's hoping to break that spell.
Jammed, and a base hit into left field, and 3 batters into it. The White Sox have a 1-0 lead and have runners at first and third and nobody out.
Okay, that's a 2-seamer moving in. Actually, it looked like it was a changeup, but see again, the elevation is the issue. Much easier to put that ball in play when it's belt high.
So look at this. In his first 4 starts, opponents hit 186 pitches out of the strike zone. I think it'd be common for just about any pitcher. But in his last 3, 425. Those are pitches that are not in the strike zone. That one hit the outside. And 0-1 to Melky Cabrera.
He has induced 12 ground ball double plays this year. He'd love to see that now. He'd just soon give him the run to take the 2 outs.
Inside and high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Sal sets up inside, and again having a tough time getting the ball down. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Lower half gets out ahead of that upper half. It leaves that arm dragging behind, and the shoulder pulling off just a little bit, leaving the ball elevated.
3-1. Had more difficulty with right-hand batters since putting on a Royals uniform than he has with lefties.
There's a lot of pitches that move in, and the righties are able to tackle those and get them because it's easier to hit that ball moving in than it is going away. Change-ups, 2-seamers, all moving away from the lefties.
Ball 4, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. And that pitch was very high.
Well, you know, Dave Island, he's compares what Johnny Cueto is going through to what Ventura went through earlier in the season. Maybe trying too hard, overthrowing a little bit, and he's, you know, hoping that he can just take a few deep breaths and regain that form. He's got his back against the wall early, nobody out. Already let a run in.
Avisail Garcia out past Escobar and into left center field. That gets 2 more to the plate. Garcia's digging for 2, and now he hits the brakes as Dyson made a good throw. And now 5 batters in, and the White Sox lead 3-0. It's the second time in this series they've scored 3 runs in the first.
Okay, let's just see where this location is. That ball looks like it's way off the plate. You see Garcia reaching out, hitting a liner. Escobar made an excellent try to stop it from going into the outfield, but that wasn't a pitch there down the middle. It's just good hitting. Finding holes. Something the Royals offense needs to do today. Find the holes. Haven't been able to the last couple of games. They've hit the ball, but they just hadn't found any holes. It's the whole key.
First and third, still nobody out. And Adam LaRoche swings and misses, 0-1. Been a tough year for LaRoche in his first season with the White Sox. after some very productive years with the Nationals. Infield pop-up right in the sun, and Mike Moustakas will bring it down, and that's the first out. It comes against the 6th batter of the inning. And now Mike Olt, who was just picked up by the White Sox. He started the year with the Cubs. The Royals have also seen him with the Texas Rangers. And Mike Olt, he was a national story for the early part of this season when the Chicago Cubs decided to go with him and not Chris Bryant out of spring training. And many accused the Cubs of making that decision based on finances only. Very late on 2 fastballs, 0-2. And then 2 weeks into the season, he broke his right wrist when he was hit by a pitch. And it was then that Chris Bryant was called up by the Cubs.
Yep, and Bryant could very well be the National League Rookie of the Year. We'll have to wait and see. But he's got some nice skills. Good fielder, got some power. And Johnny Cueto just said, all right, here you go, young man. Turning it up. Anywhere from 90 to 94 we saw there. Wouldn't mess around with any of his secondary pitches. Now he can learn from this at bat right here. But that fastball is a great weapon. Sometimes when you overthink and you start going to your secondary pitches, and he has a bunch of them, you can get in trouble. So just challenge him.
Little buzz here from the crowd as they're going to get a little bit of relief from the sun, with a very small cloud is giving the fans some shade, and they're cheering on Cueto, trying to get out of this inning, allowing just the 3 runs. 1 ball and 1 strike on Rob Brantley. Here it is. So it's not going to last very long. In fact, it's coming to an end as we speak. But even if just for a few moments, some relief from the full sunshine and the heat today. Cabrera's at third, Garcia's at first. 2 balls and 1 strike on Rob Brantley. So some shade, and then back into the sunlight. And maybe that's a sign for Cueto, who's been pitching with a cloud hovering over him the last 3 games and hoping for a much better start today. But the Chicago White Sox, who even before this series had a spike offensively, and they have scored 21 runs in the first 3 games of the series. 3-2. Abreu drove in 1, and Garcia drove in 2. There's Garcia at first base. Kendrys Morales is playing at first today. Runner from first goes, and a changeup finishes off the White Sox in the first inning, but they get 3. So a tough start for Cueto. Royals coming up against Eric Johnson when we come back. hoping the Royals avoid a sweep. The Royals have not been swept at home all year, which is saying something when you're talking about September the 6th. Here's the batting order today. Ben Zobrist will play in right field. Mike Moustakas will bat third with both Kane and Hosmer out. Kendrys Morales is at first. Alex Gordon will DH today. Paulo Orlando's in left. Gerard Dyson is in center as Ned Yost continues to mix his parts to make sure some guys get some rest. All to face Eric Johnson.
Yeah, those are his major league career numbers. And what the Royals are going to see, they've seen him before, and they had some good success off of him. He's got a 9 ERA in 2 starts against the Royals. Fastball, slider, curve, and a changeup. His slider sometimes can be a little bit flat and could get hit around, but his fastball is fairly straight. And he'll go 90 to 93 with that pitch. Escobar typically swings at the first one, but he didn't that time.
1-1 against Johnson.
That's his slider. It almost looks like a cutter. Doesn't have a lot of depth to it.
Two balls, 1 strike. Fouled off of Brantley's mask.
One of the things that Johnson does well in his delivery is he hides the ball, keeps it from the hitter, has it in his glove the whole time, turns his body, and then the hitter really has to look for that release point and focus on that spot in order to pick up the rotation.
Still 2-2 on Escobar.
Escobar would tell you he'd like that one back. That was a cookie right down the middle, just off of it. Now the outfield here, the White Sox, they're playing Escobar to the opposite field. You see how that ball at 94 came right out over the middle of the plate. They think Esky's going to be a little late.
Got it down around the end of the bat. Melky Cabrera comes in from left field. 1 away, and the rest of the White Sox defensive alignment today.
Yeah, we highlighted Rob Brantley. It's been a few years since he's been catching in the big leagues. He's got a good arm. He's thrown out 28.8% of runners this year in AAA. He's a nice catch and throw guy. He's got a pretty good swing from the left side. And the defense has been really good in the first 2 games of the series of the White Sox. It may not be on paper, but they have been making all the plays.
1-1 on Ben Zobrist, who got last night off. Zobrist has had a very good homestand so far against Detroit and Chicago. And he hits it on the ground out to Sanchez. 2 up, 2 down. And now Mike Moustakas, who makes his first start in a week. He's been battling a sore right hamstring. He has played, coming on as a pinch hitter, and stayed in the game defensively as he did last night. And he was the victim of the defensive play of the game late in the game last night.
Well, that's what we're talking about. I mean, the White Sox have really tightened up their defense, and they know they've got to play airtight to beat the Royals. And coming out and giving Johnson 3 runs, that's helps him big time. He's going to go out there and try to challenge the hitters.
He is working very quickly, and his defense will certainly appreciate that.
Good changeup. His changeup will go 82 to 84 miles an hour.
And he gets Johnny Cueto right back out into the heat. 3 up, 3 down, getting the Royals in the bottom of the first. Johnson and the White Sox lead 3-0. drinking fluids on a hot one at Kauffman Stadium. Our University of Kansas hospital injury report. More bad news for the Angels, who continue to sink in the West. Albert Pujols most likely a DH the remainder of the year. Pain in his right foot. When he first went to the Angels, he had all those problems with his left foot, plantar fasciitis, which has since cleared up, and now the other foot is nagging him.
Hitters talk a lot about their hands and the importance of the hands getting to a certain spot in the zone, but really, if you don't have your feet, your knees, and you don't have those, you're in trouble. You got to be able to have a good base. If you're struggling with some pain in those areas, it's going to show.
Look at that. 2 more pitches up from Cueto to Sanchez, make it 3. Now, you've seen him do this before. I haven't, but after several pitches in the first inning, he took his right fist and was hitting either his right thigh or his right hip. I thought, well, I hope that's not a sign that his leg is bothering him. That would explain everything being up.
Yeah, but I've been watching him do that in his starts, and I think that's his way of releasing some anger. Pounds his leg, and so I think that's what that is. And if there was any issues at all, he wouldn't be out there physically.
3-2 on Sanchez.
There's a small version of his quick pitch. Like to see him bring those in more often. That's a Cueto characteristic that really shows that he's being creative and having fun and enjoying pitching.
The pitch was up and it's fouled away.
We didn't see the rocking chair last time either out. He didn't do his little where he moves his shoulders back and forth when he comes over the rubber.
Hit hard, but Infante snags it and throws out Sanchez. So Cueto comes back from 3-0 to get an out. And with 1 out in the second inning, the White Sox are already beginning their second time through the order.
Okay, after falling behind 3-0, look at how he finished that pitch. He was lined up, he was right on top and down, and that's what he wants. They're going to hit it, but have it down so it hits it at somebody. You see how he's coming straight down, straight forward. That's what he wants. That shoulder cannot continue to leak out. If it does continue this, he won't last long in his game, because the White Sox are swinging the bats. There it is. That's exactly where he wants it. That was a good pitch for him. It wasn't called, but that's what he wants. Good downward movement around the knees.
Again, Infante. Good play to his glove side. 2 down. Now Cueto's defense is picking him up. Sunday at Kauffman Stadium, and it's the best place to be with the family. Family Fun Day Sunday, and the last home game of the regular season will be the last Family Fun Day Sunday on September 27th. That's before a game against the Indians. And as always, a lot of great activities for the kids. As Ramirez takes a strike. Face painters, balloon artists, a family-friendly DJ, and player autographs atop the Royals dugout. And then, of course, the kids can run the bases after the game in the Skippy Fun Run. Alexei Ramirez, by a few inches, missed a home run in the first inning. And there's a pitch that's up. Infante tried to grab it with his bare hand. I don't know if he needed to. And that'll allow Ramirez to reach with 2 down.
Ball had a lot of spin. Cueto, he was able to trick Ramirez going off the end of the bat. And Infante having to go see the spin right here, and he overran it. When the ball hit, it backed up on him, and it backed up to his hand side. And he's very good with bare hands. We've seen him, but he can't handle this one. Sometimes that spin is too much.
Ramirez is now 8 for 11 in this series.
He is going good, especially getting a hit like that.
And it means that Jose Abreu comes up with a man on. Abreu drove in the first of the 3 runs in the first inning. There's a fastball with good movement to it. 0-1. Jammed him. Cueto has a much better second inning. Allows a 2-out infield single, and that's it. Hands the ball off to Kendrys Morales. He'll grab a bat when the Royals come up in the bottom of the second inning. 1 RBI away from 100. Sweat much at all this year. Our Toyota League leaders, the Royals, have not lost more than 4 games all season, and they have the fewest 3-game losing streaks in the American League. Only the Cardinals, with 3, have more in the major leagues. And that's a sign of a good team. When you think about good teams, they win 10 or 12 in a row. Well, not really. They win series and they avoid long losing streaks.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's when you have a stable full of good starting pitching. That's a sunball right there. Oh, hey. Oh, man. Melky battled that one. You could see Eaton, the center fielder, all the way over there into left field to try to aid him. Puts the hand up, got the glasses on, just enough to grab it.
One down to Alex. He is the DH today. DH for the 4th time. And playing in back-to-back games for the first time since being recalled from his injury rehab assignment. And so far 5 for 9 with a walk. So he's a good candidate for Miller time. That's coming up later today during the ball game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And now up in the sun for Mike Olt. The Royals are not getting good swings so far against Eric Johnson.
No, and they haven't had a chance to adjust to that fastball that's running away from the left-handed bats, and so they're trying to pull him, and that's just what they're getting. They're getting pop-ups. I'd have to start thinking opposite field on this guy before it gets too late. But see that changeup? That was a changeup moving away. It's 2-seam fastballs moving away from the lefties. So maybe you have to start thinking about the opposite field. And with the flags blowing like they are today at the K, man, left-handed bats can go opposite field. Get it up in that gale.
That ball's hit well to right center field. Garcia is back. It is gone. Perez with number 19. That's the second most in Royals history for a catcher.
Talked about the left-handed bats going opposite field. Why not the right-handed bats? Salvador Perez, straight fastball up in the zone, and that's really helps him get some elevation. Catches the back underside of that high fastball and lets it fly. There was no chance for any of the fielders as that ball was not walking. Getting them on the board. Could see a lot more home runs today. Salvador Perez getting an off day and is much more productive after those off days. 433 average, couple home runs, make it 3 now. 7 RBIs after an off day.
Although Orlando has hit in 5 straight. Batting with nobody on, 2 out, and that's very high, 1-1. Miguel Olivo also hit 19 home runs in 2009. The Royals record for a catcher is Mike McFarland. He had 20 home runs in 1993, so Sal is just 1 away from that. Hit out to Garcia in right field. So the inning is over, but the Royals are on the board as Salvador Perez adds to his new career high with home run number 19. The White Sox, Minnesota's here for 3 beginning tomorrow night. And that series includes another student night presented by Inc. Magazine, featuring music from Hearts of Darkness. And students, you can get your $8 tickets here at the box office or at Royals.com/student night. Great food and drink specials exclusively for you in the outfield experience while you listen to that live local music. 1-1 to Melky Cabrera.
That's a lovely crowd.
Melky walked in the first inning. The first 5 reached against Cueto in the first, and 3 scored. And Cueto faced only 4 in the second inning, getting 3 ground ball outs.
See him with that rosin bag, and he's putting it around his wrist and stuff. That helps dry the moisture. Gives him a little bit of grip on the ball.
Cutter. 2-2. Fouled back by Cabrera. Fastball at 93 from Cueto as he's speeding up his delivery.
Yep. And then also, you know, he'll do a quick pitch with his changeup. Changeup could be coming here, something soft and away. There's the pitch, just a little bit off the plate. That's where he wants it. See his delivery now. See, he's got that little twist. Hard for the hitter to pick up that ball when he turns his back to you.
Base hit right field. Cabrera's on. What is that? I don't know what his manager and teammates would think about that, but
well, obviously we've seen him do it before, so I guess it must not bother him. But I don't know about, I mean, hugs before the game, sure, but in game, I don't know.
I mean, the signs thing, we're kind of used to that. It's just the way players on the bases acknowledge their teammates in the dugout, but the hugging the opposing players while the game's going on the bases, that's, I can't think of anyone else who does that.
Well, you know, it's really not the message you want to send fans. I don't think. But I guess if Robin Ventura's okay with it, I got a problem. I don't have a problem with it.
1-1 on Avisail Garcia. He drove in 2 of the 3 runs in the first inning with a single. White Sox have 6 hits against Cueto. 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 to begin the third. 2-1.
So to be able to keep that ball down, see if he can get Garcia to ground into his 13th double play.
Just off the plate, and now it's 3-1. Get your snow cones now while they last.
This heat won't last long.
Like Garcia figured he wasn't going to get a hittable pitch and almost looked like he was taking the whole way. 3-2.
We'll see if Ventura sends Melky Cabrera. He's got a couple of steals this year. Might put him in motion. See if he can find a hole.
Those are some nice shirts.
Yeah, special day at the K. Those shirts on our little day today for the families of those with special needs was sponsored by Fox Sports Kansas City. Thank you, gentlemen. Oh.
2 on, nobody out. That's Cueto's second walk, so in trouble again as he begins the third inning. He only faced 4 in the second inning, but 2 balls were hit hard for outs. Sanchez and Eaton both grounded out sharply to Infante. So he really hasn't had a Johnny Cueto type of an inning yet. Adam LaRoche was the first out of the first inning when he popped out to third, and he was the 6th man to come to the plate.
That made LaRoche 2 for 19 in his career. Off of Cueto, good off speed. And that swing there by LaRoche, that's one of the things that he hasn't been able to adjust this year. And most teams all play him to shift with 3 men over on the right side and basically just 1 fielder on the left side, and he hasn't gone to the opposite field at all. Is the reason why he's not hitting near his .264 career average.
Base hit right field. And now the ball is bobbled in right by Zobrist. So the runners move up. It is 4-1 right after the Royals got their run. It should be a single and an error. because Joe McEwing really didn't start waving Cabrera home until after he saw Zobrist bobble it.
Well, and again, Cueto, there's one spot for LaRoche that he can really mash the ball, and that's it right there. So he gave him an off-speed pitch, was able to speed LaRoche's bat up in really a spot where he's lucky he didn't hit a 3-run homer. Zobrist kind of panicked when he dropped it and missed the mark by a long shot.
Well, as of now, no error, just single and an RBI for LaRoche, and first and third with nobody out to Mike Olt. Cueto struck him out with 3 straight fastballs in the first inning. That's Cueto's only strikeout, and now he's 1-1 with Olt. Still having trouble with the fastball.
Okay, let's watch the runners. Watch the base runners. And the third base coach McEwen, he's holding him. Then he said, all right, let's go. So, you know, the fact that really Melky didn't see McEwen, the third base coach, he just kept running. Maybe it's the reason why they didn't give him an error.
This time Olt strikes out looking, and that's the first out of the third inning.
Beauty.
And that brings up Rob Brantley. It's grounded foul outside of first base. Brantley also struck out in the first inning after giving up the 3 runs to the first 5 hitters. Like Cueto got back on track with a pop-up and 2 strikeouts. Got Brantley swinging at a change. And there's one in the dirt. No balls, 2 strikes. Brantley once upon a time was the Tigers' #1 catching prospect. And a few years ago, the Tigers used Brantley in a package and traded him to Miami to get Omar Infante and Anibal Sanchez. He'll be into the crowd off to the left field side. Brantley's career did not take off in Miami the way the Marlins had hoped, and now is one of 2 backup catchers, or a rotation of maybe 3 backup catchers in Chicago. Flowers, Soto, and Brantley.
You're able to do pretty well if you can catch a good game back there, call the right pitches, and have a good throwing arm. Ask Drew Butera, he'll tell you that. So this kid, in fact, he bats left-handed. They like that. That's an extra bonus. Left-handed hitters have a little more advantage with that hole on the right side. Especially with first baseman holding the runner on.
Here you go. Right.
Careful, gentlemen.
Ouch. Got a fucking Trump on, huh?
And that's about all you can do.
Yep. And you know, you talk about left-handed batters and you know the advantage you have because there's more right-handed pitchers and it's easier to hit the ball coming in. But you know, sometimes we fail to talk about whenever there's a runner at first base, the first baseman's holding that guy on. It leaves a big hole there. That's why it's such an advantage to be a left-handed hitter.
Make sure you get your tickets for Futures Night here on Friday, September 25th, as we welcome select Royals minor league players to Kauffman Stadium. The event will feature a pregame autograph session open to all fans on the left field concourse. So you want to arrive early to meet your future Royals. For tickets, Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. Another foul ball from Brantley. 1 ball, 2 strikes. White Sox scored 3 in the first. Royals got 1 in the second, and Chicago has answered with a run in the third. Cueto really needs a strikeout or a ground ball double play. Just missed the strikeout as he cranked it up to 95.
Yep. Not a very good pitch count for Cueto here. We're just 2 in the third. Throwing a lot of pitches. 66.
Right field. Zobrist gets behind it. Garcia really runs well. Zobrist launches it all the way to the plate. And moving up to second base is LaRoche, so he was tagging as well. It is 5-1 Chicago, and they have a runner at second with 2 down.
Now you saw the pitches that he was throwing to Brantley. They were down. He was barely missing them, and then he misses up again and allows a sac fly there. So it's all about the command for Johnny Cueto. Everything's still up in the zone.
Sanchez grounded out sharply to Infante in the second inning. Oh, and 2. LaRoche has driven in a run with a single. Brantley just drove in a run with a sac fly. And the White Sox have 9 base runners in the first 3 innings, and they are about to force Cueto to throw his 70th pitch. And it's got to feel like more than that on a hot day like today.
Sure is. And you know, it's all about tempo. He normally has a very, very quick pace and quick tempo.
Upstairs, 1 and 2. And now they're going to talk it over. So they weren't on the same page with this 1-2 pitch. I will say, and I don't know if it means anything with the Royals down 5-1 in the third inning, it seems as though Cueto and Perez are more on the same page compared to the 2 previous starts when Cueto at times was shaking off 2, 3, 4 signs.
Yeah, there's going to be an adjustment period always when a new pitcher joins a new team. But Salvador Perez says that he has enjoyed catching Cueto. And I asked him how hard it is to catch him. He said it's easy because he throws strikes. But getting on the same page, that's a whole different ball game. They continue to tax him by fouling pitches off borderline. And you mentioned earlier, Ryan, about the hits that they've gotten out of the strike zone off of Johnny Cueto. He can't control that. That's what he wants to do. He wants to stay out of the middle of the plate. He's going through a period here, and it happens. He's not very lucky. He's not getting, good results.
And he's up in the strike zone. I mean, it's not all bad luck.
No. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying he's going through a little spell like this where Sometimes you execute your pitches and you get hit. That's baseball. Those guys are getting paid to hit you too.
And that was up 2-2, 75 pitches in 2 2/3 innings, and the Royals are forced to get working in their bullpen. There are 2 pitch counts. There's the overall pitch count, which they keep a close eye on, and then there's the pitch count in 1 inning. And this has been a tremendously long inning for Cueto. Laying off the changeup. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
So even if Sanchez doesn't get on base here, he's already done a nice job of expending the pitches in this at bat. Fouling the borderline pitches off, going full, looking for a fastball. Ooh.
Look out. Everybody is all right. The inning is over. Cueto ends up striking out 2 in the inning, but the White Sox get 2 and they lead 5-1.
He's a special needs and people care pastor for Grace Church in Overland Park, and has started the ministry at the church known as SOAR. Special opportunities, abilities, and relationships. SOAR provides this much needed break for parents and their caregivers of children with special needs by taking kids in for an evening, a camp, or other activities. He also founded the Kansas City Special Needs Ministries Network, an alliance of more than 40 other churches. Doc is a retired pediatrician and is joined by his wife Kay, who still practices pediatrics, and their children. They represent all people and families with special needs as a part of today's special day at the K, hosted by Team Up for Down Syndrome. And you notice Doc was holding a picture of his son Mark, their special needs little boy that passed away 5 years ago. So Doc, way to go, and what you do in the community is really special.
And all of your spots for Special Day at the K were sold out today, right?
We sure were. We're very thankful. There's Doc, proud father of 2 kids. And what he does to provide respite for families and kids with disabilities is really outstanding. And he's really joining all churches in the area to help these families. And so many special needs kids take 24/7 care, you know. And so parents don't have a chance to have a night out. So they bring them all to the SOAR program. And they're able to take the kids, and the mom and dads can go out for 2 or 3 hours and have a dinner, which some of us take for granted. Thank you, Doc.
2-2 on Omar Infante. Royals just got a run in the second inning on a home run by Perez to make it a 2-run game. And then the White Sox got 2 in the top of the third to lead 5-1. Infante, Dyson, and Escobar. It's the only hit for the Royals against Johnson, the Perez home run. That'll be back into the crowd. A sellout crowd here today, still 3-2.
What the Royals are seeing is a fastball from Johnson, 90 to 93, slider, curve, and a changeup. He's been pretty effective so far early. Just one hit was Salvi's home run, opposite field shot.
And that's backing into the crowd. So far, it's been the deadly combination of very good pitching and big offense for the White Sox in this series with the Royals. Johnson to the bag in front of Infante. On one hand, the White Sox have scored 23 runs in this series, and on the other hand, they've only allowed 3 runs. Still early today. Chris Young started warming up while Cueto was pitching out of the top of the 3rd inning, and he is still warming up. So that's usually, not always, a sign that he will start the next half inning. Royals fans, we will celebrate you on Fan Appreciation Night presented by Sprint on Saturday, September 26th. The Royals will be hosting the Indians. The night will feature games, giveaways, and great prizes. And the first 10,000 fans receive this Royals knit stocking cap courtesy of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Tickets at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. One out to Gerard Dyson. Johnson's doing a good job of throwing strikes. 33 pitches, 24 strikes.
He's coming right after him, and you know he's got a very quick tempo. I'm sure his pitching coach Donnie Cooper said, hey, look, you know, it's as warm as it is out there. Get that ball and throw it. Throw strikes. Even though the Royals, they're a very aggressive offense, they feed off of guys that throw strikes and work quickly.
Routine to center field for Eaton. 2 down. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KCDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in today's broadcast or an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. That's hashtag KCDataStrongFan. So Johnson only gives up 1 hit in the first 9 hitters. Let's see how the Royals do second time through. Escobar flied to left in the first inning. Two balls and 1 strike. And now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Johnson, at least in his big league career, walks about 1 every 2 innings, but he hasn't come close to a walk today. Making his first major league start of this year. Pitched in both 2003 and 2014 with Chicago. But has spent most of those years in the minor leagues. This year he had another good minor league season. He was the International League most valuable pitcher at AAA Charlotte. Ground ball to short, and Ramirez will throw out Escobar. 3 innings for Eric Johnson, allowing just 1 hit, and He's in front 5-1.
Take a look at our Mazda game break. It's from last night. One of the great defensive plays of the year. Certainly one of the most creative. There's Big Bartolo Colon. He of the big size and 42 years of age with the flip behind the back to end the inning and get the runner. The announcers said it was his Bob Cousy, and a guy that just may pitch forever. How about that play, guys? Up there with a Mark Burley-esque type of play here for the Royals. Chris Young now in the game.
And while we're talking about pitchers who have been around for a while, here's Chris Young in a Chevy call to the bullpen. Chris has had a long career, and Colon, in throwing that shutout last night, was the oldest pitcher to throw a shutout since 2010, when Jamie Moyer threw a shutout at age 47.
Man, those guys, they know how to do it. They may not have the velocity, but I tell you, Colon, his two-seam fastball has always been really explosive and still moving. Knows how to place it and where to put it. He'll swing the bat too. We've seen him get a few hits this year.
Adam Eaton singled to begin the game and scored a run. He's done that twice in this series, and he has grounded out to second base, where he lost a potential hit on a nice play by Infante. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Chris Young will use his fastball up in the zone. He'll max out at maybe 89. You just saw it there. 88, 87. He's got a really good slider that works down. And he'll mix in some changeups. So Johnny Cueto obviously not able to make those adjustments now for the 4th straight start. And you know, if you're up in the zone, hitters will let you know.
Had a play off the bat of Eaton.
Well, that was a nice easy play down the line. A fan just sitting down, stuck his glove out and landed right in it.
Still 1-2. Chris Young came on Thursday in the deciding game against the Tigers. Came on in the 4th inning, as he does today. Pitched 2 scoreless innings. Royals won it, and that was his 10th win of the year. It's the 4th time that Chris Young has won 10 or more games. He's had a couple of 12-win seasons. 10 years ago with Texas, and then last year with Seattle. Got Got the call with a high slider. Adam Eaton's not so sure. And it's a good start for Chris Young.
That's where Chris Young pitches. And, you know, Eaton is not as a tall guy. He thought that might have been a little bit up.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
But every now and then, when a guy doesn't have things go his way, he's going to yell, "Hot, mad it."
That's
and
right.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Better believe it.
Because he's right. He's hot, and he was mad at it. 1 ball, 1 strike on Alexei Ramirez, who was 8 for 11 in this series. Doubled and scored in the first inning on a ball that hit the very top of the padding in left field, and then had an infield single in the second. And now Young's ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the air to right field. Zobrist is right there. 2 down.
And we'll see if Young can do like he did his last time out. Hold that offense down until the Royals come back and put a little frenzy hitting together. That's what Young's hoping. But Chris Young is really, can you believe it, at the beginning of the season that you said, hey, he's going to have 10 or more wins? You would say, really? We'll take that. He's been a nice addition, especially early in the season when they needed him. Hanging in there, not complaining about innings, happy to be a part of this ball club and doing really everything every player has asked, and that's just help us win.
2-0 on Jose Abreu.
He's prepared physically, mentally, studies hitters, knows exactly where he wants to execute. And really, as a manager, you love a pitcher like that. He's totally focused. He's sold out on what he does. And you would hope that all players were like that, but they're not.
Oh! 3-1 on Abreu.
I'm a little surprised he wasn't swinging 3-0 there, but you know, if he throws it that time, he might throw it again. That's what the hitter's thinking.
Full count. Lifted to shallow center field. Dyson comes in and makes the play. First time the White Sox have gone down in order today. Royals are down by 4 as they come up in the bottom of the 4th. lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. 5-1 Chicago, but very early. And on a day like today, it would not be shocking if we see 10 more runs being scored. Hot day, humid day, wind is blowing out. White Sox 5 runs, 7 hits. The Royals just 1 run, 1 hit so far against Eric Johnson, who is 0-2 against Ben Zobrist. He had Zobrist on a ground ball to second in the first inning. Zobrist, Moustakas, and Morales.
Oh, just got the inner half there. He's trying to stay in there. And, you know, so it's up to the Royals now to make an adjustment second time through the order, see if they can maybe not think pull as much, maybe use the opposite field, maybe try to stay inside of that ball. Infield thinks Zobrist is going to pull it. But you know, Johnson, he's been cruising ever since his team gave him a 3-0 lead in the first inning. You ask any pitcher, they say, man, I got to have that lead early. That's going to help me. And he's working so quickly that Zobrist has to step out on him, slow him down, take him out of his rhythm.
Line to left, and that has been happening all series. It's like a role reversal. The White Sox are treating the Royals the way the Royals have been treating the American League all year, defensively.
Yep, Zobrist was talking it down, but it didn't. High fastball, did a good job trying to stay on top of it.
Another ball hit in the air. And Eaton is there to make the catch. You know, it's very interesting watching the Royals offensively, because can't argue with the results. And with a little over, well, 4 weeks from today will be the last game of the regular season, and the Royals have improved dramatically offensively. They're 4th in the league in runs scored after offense being so disappointing last year. But you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And when the Royals are aggressive and they're getting base hits early in the count, they're putting pressure on the defense, you think, man, these guys are like piranhas. And who was it? Jim Hickey, who said it's like playing against a full court press with the Royals offensively.
That's what he said.
But when they swing early in the count and they're making outs, fly outs, ground outs, then all of a sudden, you know, it's like, oh, come on, man, these guys got to back off. You know, they're too aggressive. There is no gray area, it seems, with this team offensively, but the approach is the same. And more times than not, it's worked out.
Yeah, and you know, that's what baseball does sometimes to you. You know, you could put the ball in play, and if you look at the last 2 games, the Royals have hit the ball. They're just as hot, but they're just going through a period where hitting a lot of atom balls like this. Everybody hits it hard, but it's right at somebody, and that's how you just hang in there and you keep pushing forward. You're going to find those holes again.
The White Sox advanced scout has done an outstanding job helping the White Sox defend the Royals this series. trusted brand. Honda actually is the most trusted players.
That's right. They're doing a great job even with that low feed there. Infante, no trouble at all. Look at this nifty work here. Oh, earlier in the season, that was a clinic, a highlight play for the ages. Everybody enjoying that defense up the middle. And there's such thing as a chemistry on defense. And Infante and Escobar got it going nicely this year. Now we've seen Zobrist mixed in there, and there's two different styles of turning double plays. As you see Infante, he'll throw that from the side, and it's equally as effective. Zobrist stays on top, so there's different ways to get it done. But the chemistry between these two have worked well the last couple of seasons.
Second inning for Chris Young. Johnny Cueto gave up 5 runs, 7 hits in 3 innings. Chris Young came on in the 4th and got the White Sox 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout and a couple of flyouts. He has a little less room for error on a day like today, with the wind blowing out to left field in a hot, humid day in Kansas City. This is otherwise a ballpark suited to Chris Young's style of pitching, but things have evened out with the weather for the hitters today. Now a 4-pitch walk to Melky Cabrera. And for the 3rd time in 5 innings, the White Sox have the leadoff man on. You can get closer to the action here at Kauffman Stadium with our Royals Memories program. You can choose amongst a variety of unique opportunities, including taking a photo on the field, a front row pass to watch batting practice, and more. All experiences are available for purchase each game exclusively through the MLB.com ballpark app. And now 5 straight out of the strike zone, and ball 1 to Abisail Garcia. Here's Fizz, and speaking of once in a lifetime opportunities, he and his wife Stacy were here for Yogi's in the outfield early this morning.
Yeah,
which was sold out. Very high in the air. The wind will push it, push it, push it, and caught by Paulo Orlando. It was a sold out event. There is the lovely Stacy Fiziak and Fizz chatting with Royals fans. Yoga in the outfield before the game.
Yeah, getting here early today, seeing all those 350 out there spread out, it was quite a sight. There's Fizz. I told Fizz, next time we show you, you give us a little pose or something.
You got a mouthful of something too.
Yeah.
This is Denny's inning. There we go.
There you go.
Now we're talking. Now I just want to see the look on Denny's face. The next time Denny does yoga will be the first time.
Oof.
Center field and well hit, but Dyson was playing deep, and he'll make the play on the roach. In fact, that should be our first question for Denny when he comes over in the 6th inning today.
Well,
How was Yogi's in the outfield this morning? Let's see if he has any idea what we're talking about.
All right.
Two down to Mike Olt, who is happy that Johnny Cueto is out. Cueto struck him out twice, both times with fastballs. And now Basin into center field. Cabrera will round second and hold. And the Sox have 2 on with 2 out. White Sox want to get a look at third base. Connor Gillespie, the Omaha kid who went to Wichita State, had a very good year last year. In fact, the best season of his major league career, but did not play well this year. Designated for assignment, traded to the Angels. Tyler Saladino, who is on the White Sox bench today, has been playing third base more than anyone since Gillespie, and now Mike Olt, who was once a huge third base prospect in the Rangers organization. He's going to get a look here in the final month. He was the Rangers' first-round pick back in 2010.
Yeah, he'll stay around. He's got enough skills where he can get hot, and win himself a job. That'll happen. There's two things that are guaranteed, and a few more things guaranteed a ball player, but one of them for sure is you're going to be an ex-ball player. And number two, if you're not performing, they'll find somebody else who will. Always looking for talent. There's always somebody coming after your job. So that's why there's a little high level of stress in this business, like all professional sports. But baseball is played every single day, so you really have to be able to have the ability to wash away the bad and look for that one good in the bad if you can. Find the positive out of the negative, and you'll have a better chance the next day. But those who can't do that, can't handle that failure and recover, end up out of the game. That's why they talk about this game being 80–90% mental.
Two and two on Brantley. Speaking of yoga and yogi, this time Yogi Berra, he had that infamous quote. 90% of this game is half mental.
He's correct. I know what he meant.
That's a swing, and it's two scoreless innings for Chris Young. Now the Royals got to get going on offense. They have one hit in 4 innings, and it was a big hit. Salvador Perez, 19th home run. He's coming up in the bottom of the 5th. Cooking at the K, presented by Farmland. Minnesota's here Monday through Wednesday nights, Armed Forces night and Value Monday tomorrow, and then Student night on Wednesday. And then the homestand comes to a close, and the Royals are gone for a long road trip. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night against Minnesota. 1-1 from Eric Johnson to Alex Gordon. Johnson has allowed one hit in 4 innings. That was Salvador Perez home run in the second. And there have been a lot of swings like that today. The Royals have had their share of balls that have been hit hard. Not many, but more so than not, a lot of reaching.
Yep, and a lot of trying to pull. That's what that is. I mean, wait a click second longer and try to stay inside that ball and use the opposite field. That's going to be the ticket if they can get to it. Playing Alex to pull. 3 men on the right field, right side. Some of the mistakes that Johnson has made today, the Royals just haven't hit them. They've done just that. They fouled them off. When they're going good, they don't miss them. And that happens. It's a timing game.
One of the very rare 3-ball counts for Johnson, who has been wild at times in his big league career. Not today. And he gets it through the shift. And for the first time today, the Royals get something going with a leadoff man on. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com. You'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Here's what Hud was talking about earlier in the game, and he has had many more days off. Drew Butera has been getting his share of starts. Combination of the big lead allowing them to rest Salvi, and the Royals have a lot of faith in Drew Butera, and that's paid dividends when Salvi has gotten back in the lineup. Head in the count, 2-0. The home run he hit ties him with Miguel Olivo for the second most for a Royals catcher. Mike McFarland. And if Mac is listening, can you believe that was 22 years ago?
Way to go, Mac.
Really had Salvador reaching there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's that curveball. He's been throwing a little slider. It doesn't break a whole lot, but that one had more depth, that curve.
And then back with a fastball, and Salvador is down on strikes. It's been an impressive start to the game for Johnson, but it's not been a big strikeout day for him. That's just his second. So 1 on, 1 out.
He's working a nice downhill angle. See that angle coming down like that? It's a very tough angle for the hitter to try to square it up. That's an excellent pitch there.
Paulo Orlando flied out to right field in the second inning. It's Johnson's first start in the big leagues this year. When you look at what he's done in the big leagues in the past, this is the time of game when opponents start to figure him out and get to him. First 50 pitches, he's pretty good, but from 51 plus, those numbers turn around. And we mention it again, on a day like today, he's thrown 66 pitches, but I wonder what he feels like. I'll bet it feels like more than 66 pitches.
Yep. Like the rest of his teammates, his jersey is soaking wet. Make him stay out there for a while.
One ball, 2 strikes. He's pitched with composure today, although he really hasn't been tested. He hasn't really had his back up against the wall. Royals have only had 2 hits all day. But in talking to some of the people connected with the White Sox, the feeling was that Johnson's nerves at the big league level weren't just internal. He didn't do a very good job of hiding them, that you could see it all over his face that he was a nervous pitcher on the mound with men on base.
Yeah, and especially runners in scoring position. It's a little bit of a panic look. Wow, hitting
Another
that
strikeout with a fastball.
Hitting that spot. Again, straight on top, straight down. Nice angle and excellent location.
Omar Infante with Gordon at first, 2 down. And the Royals are just not hitting his fastball this inning. At least the last 3 hitters are not. Infante grounded out to the first baseman LaRoche in the 3rd inning. Hit well, left center field, and Adam Eaton will catch up to it. So another good defensive play by the White Sox in the outfield. Royals get a leadoff single, and that's all. Denny Matthews will join us as we go to the 6th. I guess when you're as good as Johnny Cueto, you figure 3 straight losses, eventually someone's going to pay. So he was a player to watch, but as it turns out, it's another bad start for him.
Yeah, tough inning, and that's been the theme for the Royals, Brian, over the last 8 or 10 games. Starting pitchers have really had problems early. First innings have been a big problem lately, and there are various reasons why, obviously, but boy, it's something that's going to have to be addressed and solved.
Yeah, and you bring that up, and what's interesting in this series is how the White Sox have treated the Royals the way the Royals have treated most of their opponents this year. They've been very good defensively, they've been clutch hitters, and then what you just pointed out, scoring runs early, which has been a Royals staple this year.
Yeah, and the thing that I've noticed about Cueto, and I'm sure you guys have too, is the fact that they know he's going to throw strikes. Very few walks. He's going to be around home plate. And boy, they have been ultra aggressive. Detroit was that way, and it's been one of those things where a little different, maybe National League versus American League. Everybody thinks it's a little bit tougher pitching in the American League with the DH, but I think they've just been very aggressive against him, and it's worked out.
2-2 from Chris Young to Carlos Sanchez, as Young is trying to bail out Cueto and the Royals. This is his 3rd inning out of the bullpen. Dyson is back, and he'll make the play on Sanchez.
And you know, Denny, I haven't had a chance to see Robin Ventura here in the last couple of days, but if I went and asked him, I bet he would tell me, if I asked him, your team is playing its best baseball of the year in this series. And he would probably say yes, because they've been airtight on defense. They're making all the plays. They're being aggressive with their offense and taking it to the Royals pitching.
I thought the play that Ramirez made last night on Moustakas was one of the best plays of the year, because Dyson took off from first. Ramirez was the cover man, and he was going toward second base, and Moustakas hit a blur on the ground. It was actually a little bit behind him, and the adjustment that he made just to come up with the ball, and then the presence of mind to go to the bag. He was only maybe a step or two off the bag at second. Watch this play, watch this adjustment. There it is right there. Now scramble. He knows the ball's hit hard and it's going to take Moose a while to get to first, so he didn't rush the play, and he had him by a wide margin. But boy, that adjustment that he made and able to come up with that hot ground ball was really the play of the night. Royals had a little something going at that point.
Oh, it took the wind right out of him. And you know, when you're going one way and stopping and have to adjust to a liner on the ground to your backhand side, I mean, the degree of difficulty was great, but that's why your best athletes are in the middle.
2-2 on Eaton.
Two pretty good shortstops in this series defensively. Two of the best.
Well, hit to right center field, and Adam Eaton has gone deep again. 12 home runs. He hit 1 last year. His previous career high was 3. And now he has 12, 2 in this series, and Chicago leads 6-1. That's the first run off of Chris Young.
Hey, see, he took his hand off it, and he's just got a good level swing, and when your ball's elevated and you catch it right, it's going to travel. Especially on a day like today. We've talked about how the wind's helping that ball push out to the outfield.
Good day to hit. Tough day to pitch. Tough day to defend with the sun and the wind.
And the heat. I mean, the long innings, standing out there just melting in the sun.
Temperatures in the by now mid-90s, but the heat index is right around 100. And thankfully, they're not standing out there on that artificial turf, which would just bake you like a microwave from the inside out.
Got that right.
Ramirez pokes it to left field. Paulo Orlando comes up to make the play.
You know, and Denny, on that point, when I joined the Cardinals in '90 early in the season, the weather wasn't real bad in St. Louis, but you know, as the season went on, I saw Willie McGee and Ozzie Smith standing in trays of ice in between innings up underneath the tunnel. I'm going, wow. Guys, you go, well, look, if you wear your nails out here, your spikes, you're going to need to stand here. And sure enough, the spikes, you could feel it, the heat come through the soles of your shoes, and it would actually burn the bottom of your feet.
I know. It happened to me.
Yeah.
When we used to have the artificial turf, when I was a young guy, I'd go out and field ground balls once in a while, take BP. Yeah, I was taking ground balls and went into the clubhouse, felt fine, took a shower, and about 10 minutes after I took a shower, bottom of my feet were just burning. I thought, what in the world? And I looked at the sole of my foot and it was as red as a beet. A lesson learned. Yeah, you're right. Underneath the artificial turf was asphalt. And the heat just came right up through the turf from the asphalt, right into the spikes, right into the sole of your shoes, right into your feet.
Yeah, very unhealthy temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you were active at all in a day game, I remember having to get IV fluids after games and steal a couple bases, and you're lightheaded and you're going, man, what the heck is that? Trainer says, that's dehydration. Let's go. Let's get you in there. It's unhealthy on that carpet. I'm glad they've adjusted the carpet where it's a field turf now. It's not as plastic. It seemed like the other was just, you know, it was a bouncy material, and when the heat also would make that ball bounce 10, 15 feet high on a little bouncer.
You think when Alexander Cartwright and Abner Doubleday invented the game, they maybe looked ahead and saw it being played on artificial turf? I don't think so.
2-2 on Abreu, and the only places that have the turf now, I think there's only 2. Toronto and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, you don't have to worry about the heat. because the roof is always closed. It's a permanent roof. And I think in Toronto, if it ever got brutally hot on a day like today, they probably would close the roof. So that's something that a ball player today will probably never experience.
And they're better for it. Game was designed to be played on grass and dirt.
Right field, Zobrist comes up and makes the play. Adam Eaton hits the White Sox 6th home run of this 3-game series, and Chicago leads 6-1. Fan photo of the game, and thank you to Terryden. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag KCDataStrongFan for a chance to have it featured in an upcoming broadcast, brought to you by T-Mobile.
I want my pick on there. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to tweet it in.
Okay.
So we'll work on that. Get you a Twitter account.
I'll be on it.
I think you'd have a lot of followers if you had a Twitter account. David Lima is our Sonic Slam Inning contestant. And there you go, David. $900 from a guy you wouldn't expect to hit a home run. Gerard Dyson, just his 2nd of the year, to make it 6-2. $900 going down the road just east of Kauffman Stadium. David Lima from Independence.
We like giving away money. Let's keep it up. That won't be $900, but again, a lot like Adam Eaton's swing, almost identical. The White Sox hit the ball. Dyson, same thing. Good level swing. Got a pitch that was up. Just put it on him. Hit it in the right spot. Second of the year.
It's only the 3rd hit for the Royals. 2 have been home runs. Salvador Perez is also homered. And now Escobar lifts it to center, and Eaton goes back to make the play. So Johnson pitching with a big lead. Stays aggressive. Good pitch count. And in a game like this, a home run can be a rally killer.
Sure can.
I mean, you get the run, yay, but then you're back to pitching from the windup with nobody on base.
Listen to Ned Yost in his post-game conference last night after the game about Duffy. And most managers will tell you the solo home runs we don't care about. It's not that big a deal. It's the one with the runners on base that He said Duffy only made that one mistake, a 3-run homer last night that cost him.
And don't you think, guys, that the Royals have done a really good job this year of putting pressure on the other teams, the pitcher and their defense, being aggressive, being just people on base all the time, and it's so much easier to play defense in this game with nobody on base. You get a couple guys on base or even a guy at first who can run, and that gets the infielders in a little different position physically. It gets them in a little different mindset. It's just a lot more difficult to play defense. The Royals have done a great job of putting the pressure on. It's paid off.
Strike to Moustakas. He is struck out and flied to center against Johnson. Did you go to Yogi's in the outfield this morning?
Did not.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is that the thing that Fizz does all the time?
A lot of people do.
Did you notice when we were in the 5th inning, we had a shot of Fizz? He was doing yoga poses as you were calling the inning. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did see some odd movements with my good peripheral vision, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm not sure I wanted to know what was going on. But he's also, that's gone.
Well, the Royals will just keep chipping away with home runs. That's the 3rd given up by Johnson. And the Royals in this inning have cut the deficit to 3. And that's $1,000 now for David Lima. 900 on the Dyson home run, another 100 on Mike Moustakas, 16th home run of the year.
Belt high and belted. And it's interesting, the lefties like the ball down basically, and Eaton's home run, Dyson's home run, and now this one have been belt or above.
All left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
Now Morales pulls it into the right field corner. He'll hold. And suddenly Johnson's in trouble. Morales is 1 for 3.
Now Morales, he stayed on top of that. Had he caught the back underside of that baseball, that likely would have been out as well.
And Johnson's making a lot of mistakes, not only up, but pretty much middle of the plate, too. So he's become very hittable here in the last few hitters.
You know, we've been discussing throughout this 3-game series all the things that Chicago has done right. Now, they've scored a lot of runs, so of course that's going to stand out more than anything else, but they pitch very well. Even with the 3 runs today, they've only allowed 5 runs. They have walked 1 batter in this series. And remember, last night the Royals had 5 doubles, but only 1 double came with a man on base.
And they played very good defense.
Oh. For a team that the advanced numbers will say is a bad team defensively.
Yes.
And now the Royals are 1 swing away from turning this into a 1-run game. We'll see how Johnson responds. Hud and I were talking last inning that word amongst the White Sox folks is that when Johnson would get in trouble earlier in the big leagues, as you could see it all over his face and his body language. 0-2 on Alex. The series before this one, when the Royals scored all those runs, 22 runs in 3 games against the Tigers walked 12. Now the White Sox had walked 1. One and 2.
And we should point out that with the weather conditions as they are, no lead is safe. Not at all.
And the Royals, Denny, with 36 come from behind wins, that's a characteristic that they believe in. They're never out of any game.
broken bat, and it hit Johnson. And Ramirez did not make the play. The White Sox are going to look at it.
Man, they better take a look at Johnson after he got hit by that broken bat. You know, he picked it up right at the last minute. He saw this twirling object coming at him, but he's able to duck. But he didn't see it till the last minute. Thankfully, he covered up and got his arms up in the way, or that would have really hurt him.
I'll tell you what, that's more dangerous than a ball coming back at you.
You better believe that. Now he sees it at the last minute, and fortunately, it hit him across the bat. It didn't come in there point first.
White Sox will challenge this play, by the way. They're already on the headsets. Well, from that angle there's going to be a lot of assuming, which they've done very little of this year. From up here, it looked like Alex was out.
Yeah, agreed.
Man, but I'll tell you what, the fact that Johnson was able to get his arms up to protect himself saved him. Oh.
Yeah, the optics of that for a pitcher. Think about this. He wasn't looking at the broken bat. He was looking obviously at the ball, because every time the hitter makes contact and the ball takes off, what's the pitcher going to look at? He's going to look at the baseball. Right. And you're right. But he was not focused on the bat, but boy, that focus came, I think, just barely in time.
Oh, for sure. There's a different angle right here. Looks like it's in the back of the glove there.
Yeah.
He's out.
So the call is overturned. Johnson is okay. The Royals get 2 on home runs in the 6th. High-speed internet. The U-verse revolves around you. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. By your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Luke Hochevar comes on in the 7th inning. He is the second Royals reliever. Chris Young gave up just 1 run in his 3 innings. Here's a stat for you guys, and talking about things the White Sox have done well in this series. The Royals have 9 extra base hits in the 3 games, which is not a lot, but still 9. And that would be 3 home runs and 6 doubles. Only one time has a man been on base when the Royals have hit their 9 extra base hits, and that one time the run did not score.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it earlier. You limit those base on balls, you got a chance to win. That's how many did the Tigers walk in that series?
12 walks in a 3-game series.
Ooh, yeah, and they paid for it. And those hit extra base came, and all those runs score. White Sox just 1 walk so far in this series.
3-1 from Hochevar to Melky Cabrera. He's walked twice, and he has a single and a run scored.
I've got to think, guys, that when the season started, and the Sox have really played well in this series, I've got to think that this was the vision they had when the season started. This is the team that we were putting together over the offseason, and this is how they're going to play throughout most of the year. But boy, they started slowly and just never recovered.
So they'll use that for inspiration for next year. Most of these guys are coming back. But then again, how excited do you get about a September when your team is not in contention? I can think of many Septembers here in Kansas City when we thought, whoa, Royals are over 500 in September. This, that, and the other pitcher, you know, their ERA was right around 3. They were scoring runs, but all those years they weren't playing for anything as a team, and it didn't carry over to the next season.
Maybe it's unfair to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't know, because we don't see them all that much. I would imagine, it's just a guess, the White Sox need a guy or two in the clubhouse that's more of a glue guy, an energy guy, a leader type. I'm not sure they have that. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair, as I said, but I think if they had a couple guys like that, they might be better for it. We've talked about the White Sox from time to time where you don't really see the team concept as much as maybe you would or should to be a successful team. But that's just looking at a team that you don't see all that much, even though they're in our division and you see them throughout the course of the 6 months. But that's just my impression anyway.
Well, the next team that's coming in, Minnesota, they went out and they got Torrey Hunter this past off season, and I'll be interested in talking to people with the Twins what his singular impact has had on where that team is right now.
Well, look what Ibanez did for the Royals last year. And he didn't play that much, but you got that guy in the clubhouse, and all the younger guys look to him. He's been down the road. He's been through playoffs. He's a character guy, knows what it takes to win. It's the glue factor, if you want to put it that way. Tie everything together.
Well, you mentioned Torrey Hunter. When he left the Angels, that hurt them.
Good point.
And the Tigers. Look what's happened to the Tigers since he's been gone. And I'm not saying that one man, but you know, you back to your point, Denny, of the leadership and energetic type of player. Even though he's not a young player, it doesn't matter. That guy can sometimes stir it all up.
The old saying about you can never have too much pitching. You can never have too many character guys in your clubhouse.
Dyson, long run, he's there. So Hochevar, with the help of his defense, wins the long battle with Melky Cabrera. You know, and that glue guy, sometimes his job is to come in and make some comfortable players uncomfortable.
Good point.
Good way of putting it.
And that's the truth.
And that gets back to your thought about Raul, and I can't help but think about him as we're playing the White Sox now, and the team meeting that he led. He downplays it. Others in the organization do not downplay it. But the Royals went 0-4 to begin the second half last year. They were 8 games out of first place. There was the meeting in Chicago. And the Royals were a different team from that point on.
And you think about leadership, you really can't buy it, you can't rent it, you can't coach it, you can't teach it, you just hope you have it.
Our director Steve Kurtenbach was convinced that Garcia was going to hit the ball to Zobrist, so he took a shot of him right before that pitch. But you know that move.
Yeah,
there's the Emmy right now.
Yeah, it's a great move. But you know, Dayton Moore tries to develop leaders, and every once in a while he'll go out and get leaders. And there's a character guy like Johnny Gomes showing up here right in the nick of time to help already the great chemistry that's been developed here.
And speaking of things you can't teach, Steve Kurtenbach.
Right.
That was a great example.
Although I don't think there's a very slim chance that Gomes is going to make the play for the final out of this inning.
Well, but still, that was impressive.
That was. Adam LaRoche is 1 for 3 with an RBI. Hold foul, no balls, 2 strikes.
Adam has been a very good player. He's had a good career on the big leagues. He's good defensively. He's a very good first baseman. But I would have to say, when the White Sox built their team over the winter, they had high hopes for him, and he really has not produced as they would have hoped.
Same with Melky Cabrera, another guy they brought in during the offseason to help the offense.
Well, sometimes the pieces fit, sometimes they don't.
Well, Denny, the story of LaRoche this year, you see how the defenders are playing him. Well, that's the way every team plays LaRoche. And what I'm hearing is that he hasn't made adjustments to take those hits to the opposite field. The reason he's hitting so low with his average. Teams do pitch him inside, but they also make mistakes away. And a lot like Moustakas adjusted from his 210 plus years that he's had a couple of years, LaRoche is going through that this year.
Player of much less experience. We just saw him. Versus a player who's been in the league a long time. One made the adjustment and one didn't.
Hochevar ended up down on a knee after delivering that pitch. So LaRoche strikes out. Royals are down by 3. Coming up, bottom of the 7th.
Takes us around the league in New York. They've got quite a battle going on with Toronto right now for that division. Yankees are winning. Toronto winning again. Minnesota is losing. They'll be here the next 3 nights. And Texas trailing Los Angeles. Our Mazda game break takes us to the launching pad known as Rogers Center. Edwin Encarnacion hit his 29th home run on the game. Jose Bautista, another good day. as they are putting up a huge offensive number, try to cut the lead to 4 for the Royals as far as best record in the league. After the game, Jeff Montgomery will break down Johnny Cueto. Another rough start for him. We'll hear from Ned Yost and much more coming up. You guys were talking about those glue guys, mentioned Johnny Gomes. He was a guest on Hy-Vee Royals Live, and we asked him what he's noticed about this group. He knew they had talent, but what has he noticed in spending time with them this week?
These guys are in shape. You know, this is like all-American body team, you know. I mean, this is probably the most six-packs in a clubhouse I've seen, and that's not, you know, beer.
There's the personality of Johnny Gomes. Had a lot of good things to say. Ryan, we talked the other day with him and then mentioned it on the air about noticing every little detail, and that comes into play in the playoffs. Get used to doing that during the regular season because it'll make it easier in the postseason. And he also talked about good teams that maybe have things wrapped up. And he said you don't ever want to turn the switch off, and that's not what they're doing right now. But you get a guy a day here, get a guy a day there. You could still stay in your rhythm and crank it back up. And he said that's really what's going on right now as different guys are getting rested. Try not to take anyone out of rhythm. Be sharp when it comes time to get to the postseason.
Joel, thank you. Here is Jake Petrichka in the bottom of the 7th inning with Perez, Orlando, and Infante coming up. Sal has one of the 3 home runs today. That's how the Royals have scored all 3 of their runs. Perez, Dyson, and Moustakas have all gone deep. Didn't feel very good. But the Royals have the leadoff man on, down by 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Might be the ignition they needed for this inning to get started. It's always tough. It's been hit a lot harder.
Ribs. Only the 4th time he's been drilled this year. But only the 4th time he's been drilled this year is not much consolation at the moment.
No, but he'll be all right. I mean, it's more of a shock when you get hit like that, not expecting it, than anything.
And inside to Paulo Orlando, and that gets the crowd stirred up. Inside again. To add to what Joel had to say, and I listened to the entirety of that interview, Joel and Monty with Johnny Gomes. You know, not just talking about, you know, how much the Royals are in shape, but how hard they work, how much time they spend in the weight room, how much time they spend looking at video. And on Sundays over on the radio side, we talked to Dayton Moore and just kind of catch up with him. And I asked him about, you know, the character moves that they have made. Now, of course, Dayton is going to say, yeah, character players, but they also have to be good players. But the thing that stood out is when Dayton said, when your best players are also your hardest working players, now you've got something. And you know, just the overall impact that somebody like Alex Gordon has had since he's become more of a leader on this team.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a leadership quality right there that brings these other players, these younger guys, in.
And did that hit Orlando? It sounded like there was some contact.
Take one for the team. He's obviously, even after Donnie Cooper, pitching coach, came out to talk to him, is not able to make the adjustment. Petrichka visibly upset with himself. And there's nothing wrong with standing there and taking one for the team. Get on base. It's one thing the Royals need to be doing. They're hitting the home runs out of the park, but they got to have a few on there.
Now, I only played in college. You played in the major leagues, but I do remember this. Taking one for the team sounds like a much better idea in the dugout than it does when you're standing in the batter's box.
Yeah, but nowadays most of them have elbow pads on there. You know, it's not that hard. If you see a pitch coming in, just turn in a little bit, it clips you.
And he might have tried to do that there.
One pitch too late. Two pitches too late.
Paulo looked like he had a knee and an elbow available if that pitch was inside.
I think, you know, there it was. A good try. 2 pitches ago, he would have got on base.
Drilled to left field. Perez will go to third and be held there, and the tying run will be coming to the plate with nobody out. Paulo Orlando is hit in 6 straight and gets another big hit against his original organization.
That's much better than taking one for the team. That'll really help the team with that nice 11th double. And Ventura, like last night, pulling Petrichka down after many batters there as that ball came in. Again, he's been trying to pitch inside, but Paulo was waiting on it. Now, if he barrels it a little better, it kicks around the corner, might have scored Salvi, but wasn't hit hard enough so Melky could get in front of it.
Another right-hander, Matt Albers, comes on with Infante due to hit. To hit against Matt Albers. Robin Ventura started the inning with a right-hand pitcher, Jake Petrichka, who nailed Salvador Perez. Paulo Orlando doubles. So another righty comes on, and Ned goes to the bench.
Well, what they're going to see from Albers is a good sinker at 90 to 95. This guy's really a nice pitcher. He's got a good slider to complement the sinker and a changeup. Pretty good. ERA 1.63. Hosmer looking for his first career pinch hit. He's 0 for 5. Would be a good time for him.
And the Royals are looking for a big breakout hit. They now have 10 extra base hits in this series. Only twice has one come with a man on, and both times that man on did not score. Hosmer takes low from Albers. Hosmer in the series is 1 for 6 with a walk. Little tap. Perez has to hold his ult bare hands, and did he have control? The out is recorded, but that ball was bobbling around in Adam LaRoche's glove. And I don't know if that's something that Ned Yost or Don Wakamatsu could see from their angle. I'm curious to see if he had control of that.
Yeah, like he did. And, you know, that obviously wasn't the pitch that Haas was looking for. He was looking for a fastball up, but the two-seam sinker away. I told you he's got really good movement on that pitch. Got him to hit it off the end. Maybe Dyson can pick him up.
Dyson is homered, his second of the year, hit it into the right field corner. Royals just simply have not had a big hit this series. And it's not all on them. You have to credit the White Sox pitching for cranking it up a notch with men in scoring position. 2 balls and no strikes on Dyson.
And that angle, that arm angle that Alvarez possesses is really nasty. It's almost sidearm, but it's about 3/4. But it's really allows movement away to the left-hander. Change up, 2 sinkers, 2 seamers away. See how that ball's moving away.
That'll get a run home, and Dyson is safe. Orlando goes to third. It's a 2-run game.
There it is. You try to pull that pitch away, you're not going to get a good piece of it. But when you have speed like Dyson, that's going to work. Another infield hit, and the Royals, they know how to do it. They know the formula. LaRoche, he did the right thing. He didn't even throw it.
2 hits, 2 runs driven in for Dyson. And Don Cooper, after spending most of the game relaxing, spent the last 2 innings making one trip to the mound after another. Alcides Escobar 0 for 3 today. He is 3 out of 12 against Albers. He has the most at bats of any Royal against this pitcher.
Okay, same 2-seam sinker now is going to be coming into Escobar. He'll throw the slider away. Sinker slider, really, that's all Alberts throws, and when he has that good movement, that's all he needs.
Dyson had a little flinch before going back to first base.
There's no question about it. He's going to try to rip the bag off. Now, with Brantley, the catcher, it's got a good arm, but do they elect to throw down there with Paulo with great speed at third base, taking a chance they might throw it away?
Not running. Escobar hits it to center field. This will make it a 1-run game. Both runners will tag. The throw to second is not in time. It's a 1-run game, and the tying run is in scoring position.
Escobar knew with Dyson at first base, that's the value of having a speedy runner that can steal. You know he's going to get a fastball, so he was looking up in the zone, and he caught it just right. Dyson made the tag with no problem because the play's in front of him. He can see that. You can get on and off the accelerator depending on what you see. Eaton did a nice job of getting it in there. He's got a good, strong arm, but no chance. Now Alex Gordon has a chance to tie it up. Oh, excuse me, it's Zobrist.
0 for 3 so far today. Lost a hit on a diving play in left field by Cabrera. And with Dyson at second base, anything to the outfield ties the game. Hard hit, bloop, broken bat. outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Melky Cabrera with 6 outfield assists. He's shallow in left field. He's not real deep. But still, it'll be a tester at home to try to get Dyson if he can cut that corner at third. Garcia in right field. He's deep. See Alexei Ramirez standing in back of Dyson. I think that's not going to affect Dyson at all. Still got a nice lead. And he's in back of the bag.
Right center field. And Eaton looking up into the sun. And he'll bring it down. So the Royals inch closer. At one point today, the Royals were down 6-1. And with 4 runs the last 2 innings, it is now a 1-run game. They're trying to avoid their first sweep at home all year. Remember to follow live Royals baseball with MLB.com @bat. That's on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals with the MLB.tv Game of the Day, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. It's the #1 app for live baseball. Christian Colon is now at second base. Eric Hosmer pinch hit for Omar Infante in the Royals' 2-run 7th inning, and Franklin Morales comes out of the Royals bullpen. Johnny Cueto gave up 5 runs in 3 innings, and now the Royals bullpen has given up just 1 run in 4 innings. Chris Young went 3, Luke Hochevar 1. And the lower third of the order is coming up. Mike Olt, Rob Brantley, and Carlos Sanchez. Oh, 0-1 to Olt. He is 1 for 3 with a single and 2 strikeouts.
Franklin Morales has been as consistent a reliever as Ned has had out there in that bullpen this year. You know exactly what you're getting out of him. Good command with his fastball, slider, and he's been bringing in some more curveballs. But he loves to attack that lower inside part of the plate on righties. Got good numbers to show it. Through his strikes, comes right at guys, and look at those numbers. Yeah, those are great numbers. Lefties or righties, it doesn't matter.
Base hit right field on a 1-2 pitch. Royals going to try and do their best to keep the White Sox right here. Rob Brantley has struck out twice, and he has a sacrifice fly.
Third base coach Joe McEwen going through the signs, wondering if they're going to bunt. Moustakas playing in on the grass, thinks it's possible. Thank you.
They call that a foul ball catch. One down.
Yep, that angle of the bat is, if it's pointing towards the ground, the head of the bat, you're going to pop it up, and that's exactly what happened there. He knew it right when he bunted it. Moose was in, expecting it. Look at the head of the bat. Got to keep that barrel up somehow, some way, but you can do it if you really focus.
Carlos Sanchez with a runner at first. Sanchez is 0 for 3. Not a very good swing. No balls, 1 strike.
And as far as Alt goes, he's not going to steal. He's got 1 steal in his big league career, and he just has 11 in 6 years of the minor league, so he's not going to go anywhere.
And now it's 0-2 on Sanchez. Numbers say this is his weaker side of the plate by a pretty big margin, hitting 189. Chance for 2. Colon in the dirt. Morales picks it, and that's the inning. So after getting 2 in the bottom of the 7th, Morales comes out of the bullpen, faces only 3, and that gets the Royals right back to the plate. Moustakas has 1 of the 3 home runs today, our sprint cuts of the game. Salvador Perez in the 2nd inning against Eric Johnson. Gerard Dyson in the 6th inning, his 2nd of the year. And in the same inning, Mike Moustakas with a no-doubter to right field.
Oh, all on pitches up. Able to make some adjustments on starting pitcher Eric Johnson.
And this is Zach Duke with Moustakas, Morales, and Gordon coming up. Outside to Moustakas. His home run is his only hit today. He's 1 for 3.
That's what he's going to see from Zach Duke. A lot of sliders away.
Slapped up the left field line. That ball is foul by a foot. Boy, the Royals that close to having the tying run at second base with nobody out. Moustakas really has the right idea against a pitcher like this.
That's right. He's going to try to break everything away from him, especially after him showing that moose power. Just foul. Fastball 88 to 92. It's not overpowering. He'll show a couple different arm angles. It's part of his repertoire of deception.
Good breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's the one that starts at you. If that breaking ball starts at you, that's going to be hittable. If it starts at the middle of the plate, it's away off the dish.
Moustakas is 1 for 3 against this pitcher with a single. Fastball down and away, strikes him out. White Sox getting a little laugh as they were not showing off their best defense as they were throwing the ball around after that strikeout.
Yeah, rarely. I was looking at my scorecard. I heard the crowd roar, and I'm wondering what the heck happened. Did second base umpire Brian Knight get hit by an errant throw? I think that's what happened.
Now strike to Morales. He's 1 for 3 with a single.
Hey, this is an easy throw around the infield. Let's check it out. Ho hum. Oh. Oh no. Oh, hey, look, on the same theme. That's too bad, man. Copa, he's got a tough job behind the plate tonight. He just got one bounced off his mask.
Two and one on Morales. He faced Zach Duke last night. Duke got him on a ground ball to short. That makes Kendry 0 for 4 against this pitcher. Royals scored 1 run in the first 5 innings, and they got 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th to make it a 1-run game. 2-2.
Duke's given up 5 home runs to right-handed bats. Morales looked like he was trying to hit one out on that swing. It won't take much for a right-handed hitter, and even though he was off balance on that swing, if he meets that, catches that underneath the ball with that wind blowing like it is, you never know.
And now Duke has back-to-back strikeouts. Told you the story before. Zach Duke just never became what the Pirates hoped he would become as a starter. He had been released a couple of times and just had a minor league deal last year with the Milwaukee Brewers and decided to try a new pitching motion, dropping down sidearm against lefties, and his career was rejuvenated as a situational lefty. And he's 0-2 on Alex Gordon after striking out Moustakas and Morales in this inning. One and two on Alex. Ryan Madsen hasn't pitched in a while with a sore shoulder, so he will most likely pitch the ninth unless the Royals tie it, or it'll be Wade Davis. Looks like Davis will handle the closing role today. Typically you'd have your closer warmed up in a situation like this with a chance to tie or take the lead in the 8th inning. Duke strikes out the side, all swinging. So we go to the 9th. Chicago's hanging on 6-5. Second, when the Royals were at Fenway Park, been dealing with some fatigue in his right shoulder, and he'll come on in a critical spot here. The Royals are trying to come back from a 6-1 deficit. They have cut the deficit to 6-5, and Madsen comes on trying to hold down the White Sox, and he'll get the top of the order.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that long layoff has affected his super changeup. That's a field pitch. We'll check it out and see. His velocity normally 90 to 97. He likes to throw his cutter low 90s. And that excellent changeup.
Adam Eaton has had a very good series against the Royals. It'll be Eaton, Ramirez, who's had a great series against the Royals, and then Abreu. So this is not an easy inning at all. Fastball with some good life is in for a strike, and it hasn't been just this series for Eaton. He's really picked things up in the second half. He has a career high 12 home runs. He hit his 12th home run in the 6th inning today, and that's 9 more than his previous career high. 1 ball, 1 strike. into left field, and that is a base hit. Orlando hustles to get it, and the ball just kept rolling away from him, spinning away from him with all that side spin, and Eaton is into second base with a leadoff double.
This time he had a little inside out swing. He wasn't trying to pull that one. Sometimes you get lucky. Look at that spin. When it hit that ball, or that hit that line, just took off in the foul territory.
And now Madsen has to deal with Alexei Ramirez. 2 for 4 today and 8 for 13 in this series. And he takes low, ball 1. The Royals are prepared for, but I'm sure not expecting a bunt with the way Ramirez is swinging the bat. They got Moustakas in, Morales is in even with the bag just in case, but I'd be stunned if Robin Ventura had this guy bunt.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to happen. Moose was looking towards Eaton at second base. As you see him now, he's making sure in case he takes off to try to steal, he gets a little better look at it.
One and 2. Nice catch. That was a ball hit very hard. Brought his glove, protected the fans around him, and gets some well-deserved high fives. Looks like he's had that glove since he was a kid.
It worked.
Can use a strikeout. And Ramirez just got a piece of it. Fights off a fastball at 96.
Looks like he's trying to go to the opposite field with these swings he's taking. Straight up in the infield and a shade to the opposite field in the outfield.
Pulled foul. So a long battle here between Madsen and Ramirez. The Royals in the bottom of the 9th have Perez, Orlando, and Colon getting ready to face White Sox closer David Robertson.
That last pitch was a changeup, and it was well located. So the changeup looking good. That's up, he hits it.
Thought about it. Good idea. 97. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now we get the runner over to third. So it's a productive out for Ramirez. Eaton advances. And 1 down to Jose Abreu.
Well, that's exactly what Ramirez was trying to do. He was trying to work it that way if he got a pitch that he could do it on. Smart player knowing the situation. Now Abreu's going to be looking for something up and see how the infield is played. Looks like Jersey's going to play him in. Can't afford to give him another run. He'd be looking up in the zone trying to get a sac fly or better.
High fly ball, not real deep. And Dyson caught it flat-footed. I don't know if he saw it the whole way, but or maybe he just in his mind, knowing with Eaton running, didn't have a chance, but didn't get behind it and get as much momentum as he could coming forward, and made a very flat-footed throw from center field.
Yeah, usually you'll see outfielders back up a little bit and so they can get some momentum coming in, but maybe Dyson didn't see the ball like he wanted to. He wanted to make sure he caught it first.
So the double turns into a run. That's a big run. Now the Royals have to get 2 against Robertson in the 9th. And Cabrera's on with 2 down. That's a base hit, and the 4th time Melky Cabrera has been on base today. Trace Thompson is going to run for Melky Cabrera. Here's Avisail Garcia. Drove in 2 in the White Sox 3-run first inning. Walked and scored in the 3rd. Strike call to Garcia. Ned Yost had to go to his bullpen in the 4th inning today. Chris Young gave him 3 innings. Gave up 1 run. Luke Hochevar had a scoreless inning. Franklin Morales had a scoreless inning. And now Madsen. Madsen's given up a run here in the 9th, pitching for the first time since August 22nd. A little over 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks and a day.
Trace Thompson, he has 1 steal this year. He's got good speed.
Started to go, and his break was going to be so big that he stopped. Figured that Madsen might step off, and Madsen did not step off.
That right-hander, you know, he's looking over there out of his peripheral vision. He can't always see the lead, so sometimes you get a little early start, he never sees it. Gives you easier chance to swipe the bag.
Still 1-2. Pitch out. Snap throw to first.
Ooh. Thompson looked like he rolled his ankle there, but was able to catch himself. You want to be able to put that tag right down in the bag like Morales does. Just lost his balance.
Full count. And now Thompson will be running. Thompson takes off, and Garcia just nicks a changeup.
Yeah, look, it's good to see Madsen out there. Good hard fastball this afternoon. Changeups looking good. Wasn't much you could do with that pitch to Eaton up and in on his hands, and Eaton just kind of flared it out there to get that rally started for him. He's looked good.
Thompson takes off again. The pitch was up and it's fouled away. Most of the 38,902 are still here today. It is the 19th sellout for the Royals this season. And now ball 4. Two on, two out. And now Madsen. You can see him really experiencing the effects of the hot day today, with sweat just pouring down his face. And I brought it up before. Games like today, you've got about 2 hours and 40, maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes of good baseball. And after that, you never know what's going to happen with the heat just wearing down the players physically and mentally. Madsen gives up a run, so that gives Robertson 2 runs of cushion as he comes on for the bottom of the 9th. Royals have Perez, Orlando, and Colon coming up. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And Yordano Ventura will take the mound tomorrow for game 1 of 3 with the Minnesota Twins.
Well, if he's anything like he's been in his last several starts, the Twins are in trouble. His curveball has been fantastic, along with that powerful fastball. So the Royals, they look to an ace in Cueto today to stop their losing streak, and if it doesn't happen, they got Yordano tomorrow. He's been really good after Cueto's not so good starts.
Tommy Milone has had a good year for Minnesota, and he's had a good career against the Royals. So tomorrow night, Ivy Royals live at 6:30, and the first pitch is at 7:10. Our salute to the armed forces. Who would have thought we would be saying this 2 months ago? But Royals are now hoping that the rest of the starting rotation can be more like Yordano Ventura. Remember, he was on his way to AAA, but since the middle of August, Ventura has been outstanding in his 4 starts, or he has 4 quality starts. The rest of the rotation has really struggled. Salvador Perez fouls away the first pitch from David Robertson. Trace Thompson ran for Cabrera in the top of the 9th inning, so he stays in left field. Robertson pitched last night. It was a non-save situation. 28 saves, 6 blown saves, and he's 0-2 on Perez.
He'll run that fastball up to 95. It was a 94. Getting ahead. 2 fastballs in a row. He's got a power curve he'll use.
One of my favorite names for a power curve, a snapdragon curve.
Yep, it's a term used.
Also known as a spike curveball. Line to left field. Thompson is there. Boy, there have been a lot of those for the Royals in this series. I don't know if it was computer generated or human generated, but somebody in the White Sox organization that advanced scouted this series with the Royals deserves a promotion, because it seems like every time the Royals hit the ball hard in this series, there's a White Sox defender right there waiting for it. Now Paulo Orlando swings through a fastball at 93. 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored in the 7th inning. Paulo is now hit in 6 straight. One and one. Two balls, 1 strike. 2 things on the line here today that haven't happened in a long time or ever. The Royals have not been swept at home all year. And if the score doesn't change, Johnny Cueto has not lost 4 consecutive starts ever. And he's still on the hook after giving up 5 runs in 3 innings. The Royals never tied or took the lead. So he is still on the hook, even though the White Sox have 7 and the Royals have 5 today. Breaking ball stayed up, and it's hit out to Sanchez, and there are 2 down. And now Christian Colon hits for the first time. Royals also have not lost 3 in a row since the end of July.
Well, you know, it's certainly not panic time. Okay, the Royals are out there competing and they're doing their thing. The starting pitching has given up more runs than their offense can handle. And you know, they're hitting some balls right at people these games they've been losing, and they have no luck. And you know, sometimes you know you just got to wait it out, just wait it out, and continue to press and push hard, man.
These guys are trying.
All those numbers I just gave you, yeah, shouldn't be a cause for concern. It just shows you how good and consistent this team has been all year. I mean, we're in the last month of the season. 4 weeks from today, the regular season comes to an end, and a lot of the things that I just mentioned either haven't happened at all or happened a long time ago. Out to Sanchez, and the Chicago White Sox come to Kansas City and they sweep a 3-game series. Alexei Ramirez, one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. He continued that tear here. He was a one-man wrecking crew offensively and defensively yesterday. Today, a little different story. White Sox had to fight the Royals off after an early 6-1 lead. The Royals made it 6-5 in the 7th inning. The Sox, with a run scored by Adam Eaton, took a 7-5 lead, and that is the final score. We'll be right back.